welcome to the Weed Stalk. My name is Debbie Medeo. I'm a registered nurse in the state of New Jersey and a recreational microdispensary cannabis owner. So this is my Weed Stalk here. We're at 646 Hamilton Street in Somerset, New Jersey, right? Actually down from Rutgers College. So when you come into the Weed Stalk, obviously, you know, that Weed Stalk says it all. It's all about weed, but it's all about New Jersey, and it's all about legalization in New Jersey and the struggle to get weed legalized in New Jersey. So, you know, obviously I'm old school. I remember the struggle. Did I ever think that I'd be able to get on here and say that I sell weed in the state of New Jersey and say it out loud and not get arrested? No. I mean, so I'm still in a state of shock, but I am thankful for the opportunity to have a micro dispensary in New Jersey. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a tour of my place. It's kind of a mess right now, but I'm going to give you the tour.
Tell us why it's a mess, Debbie. You just got your license.
It is a mess because I just got the conditional cannabis recreational license for a micro. I was just approved on the 27th or the 28th of October. So I've kind of been in limbo here as far as doing things to open up. So now that I got the okay and the conditional license, which means I have 120 days to meet all the requirements for an annual license that I can just go ahead and renew yearly. So when you walk into the Weed Stalk, obviously we're going to have security because weed, you need security. When you walk in, there's going to be a little, I want to say like a vestibule or a little kind of area here where there's going to be armed security. There's going to be a bulletproof partition between when you come in and you enter. So everybody's going to enter. There's going to be a metal detector. There's going to be armed security. You're going to show your ID, and then you're going to come in. So everybody's going to be safe when they're in the facility. As you come in, I don't know, I have like my stuff here. I might move it around, but I'm going to have not just weed, but weed-related things. So I have a lot of items. I have weed clothing. I have bags. Of course, I have pipes. I have all kinds of stuff like that. Papers, grinders, all your typical smoke shop type things. Jewelry, scales. You can see like some of the stuff that I have. Some of this stuff is left over from when I had the stash spot down at NJ Weed Man's Joint. That was actually my place, and I'm actually here now by myself here in Somerset. So my dispensary is women-owned, and it's for the cannabis actually consuming woman, because I know about cannabis consuming women because I am one. And to break that stigma that's attached to women that use cannabis. So if you look around, I want to be like just New Jersey. This is New Jersey, and this is New Jersey weed. So welcome to New Jersey. And I don't care what anybody says, Taylor ham and cheese. So up here, you got to say Taylor ham and cheese. You keep your pork roll down there in South Jersey. But, up here, like I said, welcome to New Jersey. And also the Weed Stalk. I'm going to tell you the story about the Weed Stalk. So the Weed Stalk is a vision that I had when I came to this place. This place actually used to be, it was a church. It was an African church. And it had carpeting and had this rug hanging up. Oh, my God, it's horrible. I came here and I cried every day. But, we took the carpet up. We did the floors, painted, and I got a vision. So the vision was the Weed Stalk. So as you walk into the Weed Stalk in the front, you come in and you're coming into a weed stalk. And the vision of the Weed Stalk is the same as based on the, I guess it's a fairy tale or a fable, the Jack and the Beanstalk. So when I came from Trenton, I didn't come from Trenton because I wanted to. I came because I had to. So I came rejected, and I came like, oh my God, look at me. And I felt like that kid that went out and traded that cow, and he came home with some beans, and everybody said, look at you, what you do, how stupid, that's useless. And he threw those beans in the ground. So I came with a couple of weed seeds. I threw my weed seeds in the ground, and a big weed stalk grew up, and this is it. So you can climb up the weed stalk, and I make the comparison to, when you get up the top, that goose that laid the golden egg, and that's something that my ex-partner used to say to me all the time, that he was the goose that laid the golden egg, and everybody wanted him, and nobody gave a shit about me. So here I am. I mean, obviously, I know what I created. I know what I can create. I know what I want to create. I want to create a vibe that's inviting, that's safe, that you have bud tenders that are knowledgeable, just, the peace and the love and the stuff that weed was always, and always has been. Now, a lot of weed is like, you look at it, it's like the big cannabis cartel. I'm not an MSO, I'm a little mom and pop shop. So that was my dream, that was my vision. So as I come in here, I get the vision. So as you come into the weed stalk, you're walking through the weed stalk, and here you are, oh, my little dog got knocked down. So you come into the weed stalk, and you're walking through the weed stalk, and then you walk to the back. When you get to this part, you fall down a rabbit hole, and you actually go into Alice in Wonderland. So a lot of this is like psychedelic type stuff. So like if you look, it's like based on Alice in Wonderland. And I have a lot of other stuff that I'm going to put up. So that's basically what it is. I'm actually going to meet with like my attorney and a team of people so I can get going on the requirements for the state. So I can get my, contracts and get some weed and start selling some stuff, because I've had this building for over a year. But I'm thankful that I have the building, because a lot of people don't have buildings. Real estate is hard to come by in New Jersey. But like I said, I mean...
So now first step from this point on is to get a safe put in here, right, for your product?
Well, the first part that what I'm going to do is, yes, the weed has to be off the floor and it has to be locked up. So I actually... there's a safe company that makes like safes, but then I talked to another person from a company that makes like cages and things. So I'm not exactly sure. I'm waiting for my architect to get back to me with the...
But some kind of locked, safe area.
Yeah, it's going to be a locked, safe area. So there isn't going to be any weed out here. So if you want to see like weed, so I'm gonna go back over here again. If you want to see the weed, what I'm going to do, and I've seen this in other dispensaries where you can actually smell the weed, and they have it where it's in like a little container and it's tethered onto the counter. So I'm going to have like the weed selections tethered onto the counter, just like a little bud's going to be in there. You could press it, you can smell it, you can see it. But if you want to steal a bud, I mean, for God's sake, whatever. But
Now, do you know how many different strains of weed you'll be selling, or that hasn't crossed your mind yet? Like, are you going to be like a bar where they go, we have 50 strains of beer,
I'm not exactly sure, because I have to see what's available. So I would like to get, ideally, like 3 of like an indica, 3 sativa, 3 hybrids, but, as far as like bud, but I want to see like what everybody likes. I mean, I like, certain things that I like I like that Midnight Runs. I like that Pink Hawaiian haze. People like super silver haze. So there's a whole different variety. So I think I'm going to have to take a poll as to what people like. And then as far as the concentrates, they can be over in these other display cases, which these display cases were dropped off at the side of my building like trash from my previous establishment. So me and my daughter took them and we put them back together and we customized them. Because it's easy to buy stuff when you have money. It's easy to just go out and buy it. But it's harder to create something from nothing.
Now, when you say they were just dropped off, somebody bought them from Trenton over to Somerset and just left them in your parking lot.
Just left them on the side of the building, and I was crying. The guy upstairs called me. He said, "Debbie, is that your stuff on the side of the building?" I'm like, "What stuff?" And he sent me a picture, and it was my stuff. And it was all just dumped on the side of the building. But
so obviously the breakup with your old establishment wasn't amicable.
No, it was not amicable. It was a hostile takeover. So it is what it is. I mean, I could have crawled under a rock and cried and just, lost everything. But luckily, I had a little bit of funds, not even an eighth of what I had put into the place, a little bit of funds that I was able to come here and start over. And I'm going to start over. I'm planning on being when I open my doors. I'm planning on this place already being too small for, you know, the customers and stuff that I have. So I'm like super excited to you know, see the people that come in. I'm like super excited to see like what I can actually sell. I'm super excited to actually sell shit. It's like crazy.
The joint in Trenton, New Jersey, right?
Well, I mean, I was the person, you know, that basically it was my design. I designed the place. I made the menu. I made the decor. And I was the person that financed it for basically the first 5 years because it didn't make any money.
So it was your vision.
It certainly, yeah, it was my vision. But like I said, when I came here, I didn't have a vision. I came in this place and I stood here where I'm standing and I just cried.
So you were pretty busted.
Yeah. And I just cried and I just cried.
And the reason you were busted was because you had to leave the old place with nothing.
I left the old place with nothing. Luckily, I had a little bit of money stashed away, a little bit, like I said. I was able to do that. And so I had a little nest egg to come here. Is it going to get me to the end to open this place? I don't know. We'll see.
And we hope to open by 2023.
I hope to open in, yeah, like a couple months.
So early 2023.
I would say, yeah.
Okay.
Probably early next year. So, because there's some structural things I need to do. But, you know, like that, and I was saying this to my daughter, like the old adage, and I was saying this to you too, that, you know, just fake it till you make it. I came here, faked it, you know, and I'm smiling and everything. I would get up and cry, take a shower, put my makeup on. I couldn't cry anymore because I had my makeup on. And I'd come down here and just cry and just work on this place. You know, pull up the carpets, had somebody do the painting, do the design, put the stuff up, and just every day, and just fake it. And just fake it until you make it. And just show up. It's like, you know, when people say that, just show up, and you think, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. That's all you got to do. Like, just show up and just fake it. Show up and fake it. Fake it, fake it, show up. And that's how I got this conditional license. Like,
Well, I guess the other half of it is be passionate too, right?
Well,
Fake
yeah,
it and be passionate about what you're doing.
you have to be passionate, and you have to, this is another bit of advice that I'll give people. Gangsters move in silence. Just keep it to yourself, because nobody's going to support you. If you think people are going to support you, they're not. And if you think people want you to win, most of them don't. And they'll just sit there and they'll say, yeah, 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 and cheer you on so they can watch. It's like watching a train wreck or watching like Jersey Shore, like one of those things. Like you just can't look away, you know. So people like to watch and they like to see you fail. So you just keep it to yourself, and that's what I did. But you just fake it, sit there and smile. Oh, everything's fine, you know, blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. And, you know, until you can kind of stand on your own 2 feet. And if you show, and I was saying this to friends of mine too, and I don't know if it's just a woman thing. You can't show any, like, sign of weakness. And if you cry, that's a sign of weakness. And people will, if you don't think that, people will just go nuts and just, oh my God, like you just can't. When I came, I was devastated when I came here. I was devastated. But I'm not the type of person that will lose everything and then just walk away and say, oh, I lost it all. But I got to do something else. I got kids. I started the joint. If you look back, you know, you Google me, you look at everything I've always said. I started the joint because I have a disabled son that I need to take care of when he's older. When he's older, when he's 22, he'll be eligible for services in the state of New Jersey. He's not entitled to them, so he's not going to go to school all day. He's probably not going to get the nursing he gets all day, the 16 hours. So I have to be able to take care of him because he's not going back in an institution. So that was why I started NJ Weed Man's Joint. So I would have my own business, so I would have an income, so I could pay my bills and take care of my children. I have 2 daughters that are grown too. So that was the reason I really started the place, was for my son. So as a mother, like there's nobody that hustles harder than a single mom. So, and a true definition of a hustler is somebody that loses everything and then just keeps going and gets it back. Not even gets it back, but gets something bigger and better. I mean, that's a hustler. Like, and that's what I've always done. Like, I've always been able to hustle, but dear God in heaven, like, I'm 58 years old. I was dying of COVID. I had to have back surgery, and I'm still coming here every day. So I got post-COVID syndrome. I'm coming here and I'm crying. I had to have surgery on my back. I'm still coming here and I'm crying. I got to take friggin' Neurontin and Relevant and all this stuff. And I'm still coming here and I'm crying, but I got it done.
Now, what could the state of New Jersey do to make the process better? Not maybe for you now, but for future people that have to go through the process, now that you've been through it.
I think that they should make the application process simpler. So the application process now, I'm not a dummy. I have 2 undergraduate degrees. I'm a very capable, responsible person. I'm able to function in society and do all kinds of things. There's no way that I could have filled out that application by myself. There's no way.
Now, I did see yesterday the CRC said they're starting some education courses or something, or they're willing to help you now with the process.
Yeah, they're saying they're willing to help you now. Yeah, that's great. But now there's no real estate left. So if you're trying to get a license now, like, you're not even going to find a spot to rent because the rents are higher. I pay higher rent because I'm a cannabis business. But just the things that they asked for. Like,
So that's true. If you're a cannabis business and they find out, they automatically up the rent on you.
yes. And you also have to be, well, they're not stupid. Like, the landlord knows that this is like prime real estate. And you also have to make sure that your town allows it. You have to make sure where it's zoned, that it's zoned for weed, that you're in a commercial zone, that, there's no like schools and all this other kind of stuff. So there's a lot of regulations and stipulations for the towns. So I couldn't have done this on my own. And I'm going to admit it, I couldn't have done it on my own. So I worked with a team of attorneys, Sam Redlich and Ed Tobias, and then this other woman, Natalie. I think her name is Diaz. She's new. And they basically did all of that. So but just getting the information was insane, because they want so much information. So once that was all done and submitted, and then they sent me a letter and they said they wanted more information, which in all honesty, it scared me because I was right across the street from City Hall in Trenton for like 5 years. They know what I was doing. So, I mean, that could have helped me or it could have hindered me, but they did give me the license, which I still can't believe. So,
Was that like a major weight lifted off your shoulder when you heard that?
it was a major weight, but now it's like the worry doesn't go away until
Now the work starts,
Yeah,
right? The
now-
worry is done. Now the work starts.
Now I just emailed the architect and everything. So the work starts, and I've been complaining all the time. Oh, I'm in a holding pattern. Oh, I feel stagnant. Oh, I can't do anything. I'm just like, and now, yes, now I can do stuff.
Another thing they did to you guys too. They made you wait. They made you wait. They made you wait. Now you have 90 days to make it right. Otherwise, you could lose your provincial license,
I
right?
have, there's some paperwork. They want something, and I'm actually going to meet with my attorney after this. They want something. I can't remember what it is because I don't remember. That's why I have the attorney. So I'm going to go over there. They want almost like a financial type of plan or something that I need to submit. But I've already got approval from the town. So, and I already have a place. So I'm like ahead of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you didn't have a place and you didn't have approval from the town, you're already a year behind most people. Right?
Yeah, so now people have to try to find stuff, and towns are still like they're approving it, like other towns are approving, but in New Jersey, you got to be quick. Like if people know, this plastic lid is going to make a lot of money. Well, somebody's going to go to the store and they're going to buy 10,000 plastic lids because they know they can sell them for like what? Yeah, $100,000. So that's the way they are in New Jersey. So people are scrambling and buying up all the real estate so they can rent it out at.
Yeah, no, a lot of people have been sitting on it for the past year, hoping that this would happen earlier, but it took a year for it to happen.
Yeah, I mean, and I've had my place since August of 2021. So I've had this place for over a year. But I knew that I needed to get it, in order to, because otherwise I'd be stuck. I wouldn't have a place.
Well, the whole process was set up like, hey, we're going to drop it on you. You better be ready to run, right?
Yeah.
So luckily you were smart enough to see that in advance.
Well, I mean, and like I said, I couldn't have done it by myself. I did it with the help of an attorney. So I wasn't doing it all by myself. So I had somebody to guide me.
Which wasn't free, right? Let's just say that wasn't free.
It wasn't free at all. So you need, like, let me tell you, you need money. And I'm not going to say a shit ton of money, but you need money.
Would you say if you want to open a cannabis business in New Jersey and you're not a big boy, you need close to $100,000?
I'd say probably double that.
200,000?
Probably, yeah, at this point. Yeah.
Okay.
Probably about $200,000 from start to finish. Now.
Right, that's including stocking it and everything.
Yeah. Now, I didn't just start this process. We've been doing this I started this when I was down at the joint, and that was at least 2.5 years ago. So we started to work with an attorney to get legalized, the joint dispensary, to get the place next door, and then I ended up here. So I had already been working with an attorney. Where people are like, oh, how do I do it? And like, now you're going to apply. I don't know. I don't know if like you missed the bus, now I don't know. I always tell people, just get an attorney, because it's not an easy process. It's not. You really need to work with somebody that knows what they're doing.
If you're a street dealer and you think you're going to open a store tomorrow, it's not happening, right?
And I laugh, because if you look at like your typical stoners, like, the people that are like big idols to us, like Cheech and Chong, and they're sitting there and like, oh, it's Dave. Yes, Dave. Dave's here. You're not opening a place. Like, Dave has to get an attorney to do it. Like, you're not.
You have to grow up if you want to open a place.
And it's not just, you're not just going to sit there and weigh out, 3.5 or for an eighth. Like, you're not doing that. So.
In fact, you don't weigh anything. It all comes pre-weighed, pre-packaged.
It's going to come pre-weighed and pre-packaged, but I do have to weigh it. So if I get something from you and you bring it to me and you're telling me that, oh, okay, here's an ounce. So I have to weigh it. If I weigh it and I sign for it or accept it in a computer, and I weigh it and it's not 28 grams, it's only 20 grams. Now I have to account to the state, the CRC, where's this other 8 grams? What you do with it? So everything needs to be accountable. So the state has a computer system called Metric, and they're going to do like, webinars on how to use it. I had to buy a software package and have it built for the Weed Stalk COVA, and that's what,
part of that $200,000 that we were talking about.
Yeah, so so I have to buy not just the software. So the software, it interfaces with metrics, so it keeps me in compliance with the CRC. And you scan your driver license, your ID. You're only allowed to buy an ounce of weed a day. I think you can go to a different dispensary, though. I don't think they have that. So you could buy an ounce from me, and then you could walk across the street and buy another ounce from somebody else. But it will calculate the ounces, that you buy at a time. Even the concentrates, or like the dabs or shatter or whatever, it does add that all up.
And just to be professional, in New Jersey, up to 6 ounces. So you could do that 6 times. And then if you have all 6 ounces on you, you're at the limit. You're only allowed to carry 6 ounces at a time.
A total of 6 ounces. So even, like I said, with the tinctures or with like shatter or with like wax or things like that, it adds up to whatever adds up to an ounce. So you could buy an ounce from me, you could walk across the street, buy an ounce from the other dude. But as long as I'm in compliance, then that's fine. So my software, which I'm going to start working on now, will interface with metrics, so keep me in compliance, because there's a lot of compliance that you have to deal with, because you're dealing with a regulatory commission. And that part of it is because I'm a nurse and we deal with the same type of thing. So if there's like an adverse event or things like that, so it's almost like they're treating it almost like, pharmacy type things that, I've been dealing with for a long time. So that part I feel comfortable with. So I also have to buy the hardware for my software. So there's going to be, I think, 4 stations when you walk in. I'm going to have a podium where the little pad will be that you can put your order. You can do your, smell your weed over here. You're going to come around the corner. I'm not going to give away all my surprises, though, as you come around the corner, because instead of like going down the Garden State Parkway, this is going to be the Garden State Weedway, because we're New Jersey. We're like, if you can make it in New Jersey, forget what they say about New York. If you can make it in New Jersey, you can make it anywhere, because we are just like tough. Like we just, how New Jersey people are. I remember when I was coming home one time from New York, and I was on getting onto 95 onto Route 80, and somebody had the sign and it said "Welcome to New Jersey," and somebody spray painted on the bottom of it, "Now go home." That's just like so New Jersey. Like we just we can't tolerate anything. So, but that's what this is all about. It's all about New Jersey. It's all about weed, and it's all about my other mission. It's not even a mission. It's just my life. It's about weed being normalized for women. Because if you look at women in weed, you look at certain establishments that are like gentlemen's clubs, and that's not women in weed. I mean, somebody doing a lap dance, somebody swinging on a pole, that's not women in weed. That's a gentleman's club. Women, they're owners, they're growers, they're retailers, they're distributors. And I think women that use cannabis, like I said, it needs to be normalized. So I'm a responsible adult. Like I said, I have 2 undergraduate degrees. I got 3 kids. I got 1 adopted, with severe disabilities. I took care of them. I mean, I didn't smoke weed for 26 years because I was raising my children. I felt as though I shouldn't be impaired. And when you have kids, if you're high or anything, they're going to ruin it anyhow. So what's the point? You're wasting your money. So I didn't do anything, smoke anything, do anything for 26, 27 years. And then, I smoke. And I smoke because I have a lot of spasms and issues with my back. And it does help. But if I want to have a sip of wine, or if I want to have a toke on a joint, see, I said a toke, so I'm showing my age. If I want to toke on a bone, I'll really show my age. Then it should be normalized.
What's the correct terminology now? Huff on a blunt or something?
I don't know. I guess people smoke a blunt. And you know what? It's funny because I'm from North Jersey. So if people didn't smoke blunts when I was coming up, when I smoked when I was younger. And if anybody had a blunt, we used to call them Philly blunts because they were from South Jersey or Philly. So we always call, oh yeah, that's a Philly blunt. Yeah. So I mean, and I never smoked. To this day, I never smoked one because I don't know. But anyhow, that's not. That's more of a Philly thing. But again, like I said, it should be like somebody like my mother, who's 88 years old. She was actually talking to me about, the THC, the weed is so much stronger. And I was trying to explain to her about extracts and concentrates and dabs and things like that. But somebody my mother's age, she should be able to come in here and say, I need something for my arthritis. I need something to relax. And it in an inviting, non-intimidating atmosphere that, everybody feels comfortable. Because sometimes as a woman, I won't walk into a bar by myself. Like certain bars, you won't walk into a bar by yourself as a woman. And some dispensaries are like that too. You got bud tenders there, and people have described bud tenders. Oh, you got a bud tender. Oh, you got a pair of tits. I mean, and that's not what a bud tender should be. Knowledgeable person that's going to come in and make sure that you have the best experience of your life when you come there. When I was at the joint, I used to say it was the happiest place on earth. Fuck what that mouth said. I got the happiest place on earth because I was very focused on the customer. When you come here, it should be the best experience you ever had, that you want to come back and you want to bring your friend. So that's what it's about. So like I said, I'm here. It's been a struggle. Oh my God, I can't even tell you what the struggle has been like because it's ridiculous. I don't even want to talk about it myself. But, it plays out in my mind sometime, and I'll go home and I'll cry, but you're never going to see me cry. You're never going to see me cry when I'm here, unless it's like tears of joy. You're never going to see me cry. But like I said, I'm still standing.
You're not going to cry the first day that door opens and the first customer comes in?
You know what? I might have a stroke and a heart attack all at the same time when that happens, because in the back of my mind, in all honesty, I still don't believe it. I still don't believe it.
I think when that happens, that means you totally made it on your own.
Yeah, so. And this has been a vision of when I was coming up younger, I mean, I grew weed, I sold weed. You can ask my mother. And I never, in my wildest dreams, imagined I'd be able to do it legally in the state of New Jersey. I felt
the same way about smoking, just about smoking weed.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
like crazy.
I'm still paranoid about
Well, you
it.
know what? I've always smoked weed, and I never thought I was doing anything wrong. So you know how they say you can't smoke on the beach? I smoked on the beach all the time. We walked up and down the boardwalk, we smoked. I smoked here, I smoked in the car, I smoked everywhere. So that has never been a problem for me. But to actually sell it, it's like crazy. It's like a crazy, and I still don't believe it. So like when the first person comes in and they ring it up on the register, like I said, I might have a stroke and a heart attack all at the same time and just die on the floor. But my daughter is going to come and she's gonna work with me. My other daughter's a pharmacy tech. She wants to come. So I mean, everybody's got to get a handler's license. I don't know what that is. I don't know what it entails. I have to get one too from the state. I don't think they have the stuff out there yet. So we all have to get that to work.
I think it's kind of like a serve safe.
I think
You know,
so,
they give
yeah.
you a course and,
Yeah,
you
I
know.
think it's something like that. So I don't know, like what you got to learn about to handle weed, but you have to.
It might be like an alcohol thing where you have to know if somebody's impaired before you sell it to them. Is that an issue with selling weed or?
No, because you know what? It's not like a bar where you're actually serving them a drink. So I'm not giving them a dab. Like a liquor store. So you would sell somebody a 6-pack of beer. If you're drunk, you can still come in and buy a 6-pack of beer. You're not drinking it there. You know, hopefully somebody drove you there. But yeah, I don't know. I've asked that question, but I'm not responsible if somebody, you know, buys something from me and you know, if they go and you know, get impaired. And you shouldn't be impaired in anything. I don't condone being, you know, impaired and driving or, you know, doing stuff like, you know, when you need to be alert. And this is the thing with the state of New Jersey. We're all adults, and everybody knows when you need to be responsible. You know when you need to be sober. You know, like sometimes when, oh my God, I'm not sober. Oh my God, I better sober up. Like, you know. So I think that New Jersey needs to give the people that live here more credit because they don't give them enough credit. I know that I should not drink and drive, even though when we came up, that was an actual thing that we did. That was a social event on Friday and Saturday night. We would drink and drive and go to other bars.
Some people could do it and some people couldn't do it.
Yes,
Some people killed people and.
It was something that we did. And everybody did it. And that's what you did as a teenager coming up. You drank and drove. Nobody does that anymore. I would never do that. I would never do that again. But, you know, I've done that. I've done that with where you're drinking and driving. You come home and your car is parked on the front sidewalk. Like, you don't even know. But it was a different time. It was a different era. Like, things are different now. We need to be responsible. And you need to be responsible for the people around you too. Like, I feel that way too. Like, I would never sell any weed that's bad. I would never sell like any dabs. I would never sell something to somebody that I wouldn't ingest myself. And that's the way I feel. And that's why
So it's more than just the money to you.
it's more than just the money. Like, if you can make money doing something that you're passionate about, that is like really great.
So you wouldn't bag up stems into eighths
into eighths.
and sell them?
No, I certainly wouldn't do that. And people do that. But no. And I always like to have people test like stuff that I have. Like, if you like, I'm not a person that does dabs. So if I have a dab, if I know somebody that does dabs, what do you think of this dab? Oh, it's not good. It doesn't taste good. Oh, it got me really high. So it's something that's an issue in the cannabis world too, because a lot of the medical people feel as though they have to do stuff for free. Oh, I'm going to give free weed. Oh, I'm going to give this to oh, I got to give them RSO. I got to do. Somebody's got to pay for it. And I have a house. I have children. I have animals. I have a lot of bills to pay. A lot of bills to pay, believe me. Like, I can't tell you how much shit is in collections from the friggin' joint. My house went into foreclosure a couple times. My cars got repossessed. I got them all back. I got my credit score up. I got one thing in collection. So it's been a very long journey, you know, to get back to, you know, I guess ground zero where I started, you know. So, but
look, you're there though. So now it's only up from here.
you know, and I don't know if I don't feel like I'm there. Like, I don't actually feel like it's almost like,
Once the door opens.
it's almost like surreal. Yeah, once I start buying the weed and I get the stuff and get employees and get the stuff. So now it's just like, I'm here, I'm at like training camp, and now you're going to get going. And, you know, once I get going. But like I was saying about making money, there's nothing wrong with making money. And I have no problem with paying tax on the weed either. I have no problem buying legal weed. I think I've done it twice in my life, bought legal weed. But I have no problem buying legal weed from a mom and pop shop, which I will. I'll go to other places and buy weed. Um, I don't have a problem doing that because if that money, the tax money, goes back to the community, if it goes back to Somerset, that's great. If it goes to the school, if it goes to the animal shelter, if it goes to taxes, if it fills the potholes in the road, that's great. So I have no problem with that. And people have a problem with, legal weed, blah, blah, blah. If you're buying it from some dude on the street, some misogynistic asshole selling you weed, they're just going to take your money and put it on a stripper pole. So what's the difference? So you buy it legal, it's a little more expensive, but I think everybody needs to support the community that they're in. So that's like, I've always done that. Like I always give donations. I got a bunch of clothes, sent to the Ukraine and give donations to the animal shelter and do stuff because you have to give back, to the community. And I like my community here. These people have been like really cool to me. But there's nothing wrong with making money. And there's nothing wrong with having nice things. There's nothing wrong with that. I always do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. And that might sound like cliche, but you got to watch because people are always watching you. And if you're like an asshole and you're going to do things, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass.
Let me say one of those people could be God.
Well, that's true, too. I mean, that's true. And, like, I think that, I can leave God out of the equation, but you can say, like, do unto others as you would have them do unto. Like, I just do the right thing because I just do that. Like when I adopted my son, like I wanted to have a son. And here he was, and, he didn't have any parents, so I adopted him. That wasn't even an issue. I adopted him when right before he turned 2. He's kind of like an inspiration to me because like all the stuff he's been through, like even when he's dying, like he's getting ready to go in the PICU and he's getting ready to code, like he can't breathe, and he's got a smile on his face, and there's just like he's okay. I'm like he always is happy. He's getting ready to die, so he did that a couple times, and that like this is another thing. Now that I'm here at the Weed Stalk, I let my hair grow out gray. I earned every single one of these fucking grays, and I am going to put them out there on my head because I earned every single one of these. And you see, my hair is different colors. But anyhow, I've had him since he was 17. Now he's 17. I actually have had him since he's 2. And the adoption went through when he was 3. So I took him home when he was 2. I adopted him when he was 3. He was actually met Bon Jovi the other day, was up at his school, so he's doing all right. So he goes to like a real hoity-toity private school in Bergen County. So he walks around like the mayor. He doesn't walk. He in his wheelchair like the mayor. But he's like another inspiration for me because, like I said, that was my whole reason I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I can't work because if the nurse calls out sick, I can't go to work. If the nurse shows up late, I can't go to work. If the nurse has to go home, I can't go to work. If my son is sick and stays home, he didn't have nursing at that time, I can't work. So like, how do I work? You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, I had to make a solution to that. So hopefully this is a solution. Like he'll come down here and I just put him on a sofa and he sleeps. People are going to ask me, does he use CBD or, no, he doesn't. And could he? Yeah, he could. And will he? Yeah, I think he will. Now that he's like 17, I think that he would benefit from like THC. So I think that he has an appointment with the doctors, and I'm going to ask them because I think that will help him because he does have, not that he's aggressive, but he's 17, so he's got that testosterone and he's a boy, and you know how men are. So he's like that, sometimes grumpy like that. But no, I don't use it for him. I use it for myself. Do my other kids? Yeah, my one daughter, she was my edible taster, Rachel. And Amanda, no. My other daughter, they don't, partake in anything. When I had the joint, I wanted, and this is the way I want the Weed Stalk. When you walk in here, it's going to be welcoming. You're going to want to come back. You're going to feel comfortable. You're going to want to hang out. The vibe is just going to be awesome. And if there's an issue with an employee, which I don't think there will be, because like I've never had an issue with anybody that I've hired, myself, because, if you're working and you're working, you have the same vision, taking care of the customers and everything. But if it's problem, and this is the problem I had at the joint. First of all, I'm not jealous of any other woman. I'm not intimidated by any other woman. I'm not insecure. If you're a horrible worker, you're a horrible worker. Just because you're sucking some dick doesn't mean, I mean, and that's just the way it is. And that's what women do. If you're a mover and a shaker, if you're an owner, if you're, being, getting out there and doing what you want to do and you're passionate about it, you're a bitch, you're a nag, you're a cunt, you're this, you're that, you're other thing. And then you just got to let that, like, that used to make me cry too. Like, I can say it. I'm not crying. You see me crying when I'm saying it? I don't give a fuck. You can say whatever you want to say about me. But, and people do say that. But like I said, that's not the case. The case is that I have a vision. And if you share my vision, that's great. And the employees that I have, like, I respect, like, all the employees, because I couldn't do this unless I have my employees. So people have applied, and it amazes me. People have applied to work here with, like, master's degrees and stuff. A lot of people from Rutgers, which is really cool. Like, a lot of, like, mushroom people. And, like, I like everybody that's applied, so we'll see. My manager's going to go through stuff, and we'll see.
And if someone wants to apply, they can just go to the weedstalk.com, right?
It's on the website right now. There's were some jobs up there, and people did apply. I didn't get any applications for people for security though, so that'd probably be an outside firm. And I'm also, I don't know if I mentioned it, I'm gonna get a personal protection dog. I said that to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So my daughter works for Pro Canines. I got to say that. She works for Pro Canines in Frenchtown, New Jersey. And they train personal protection dogs. Now, what these dogs do is they can sniff out if somebody has a firearm. Now, if you have a felony in the state of New Jersey or a medical marijuana card, you can't own a gun in the state of New Jersey. Okay. So you can't really have a bank account either in the state of New Jersey with, there's 2 banks, I think, that deal with cannabis. So it's a cash business. It's just the reality of it. So even if you have weed, which is going to be locked up, or you have cash, you have both.
You're vulnerable.
Yes, you're very vulnerable. So if somebody comes in and they have a gun, that's why I'm going to have the bulletproof glass, that little vestibule, and metal detectors, so people will get patted down. If they do come in with a gun, like I said, I'll have my personal protection dog, and what that dog can do is they can sniff out a firearm, and they can, if somebody pulls a gun, they can disarm that person, which is something that is better than even having a gun and shooting somebody, because I don't want to do that. I mean, weed is all about peace and love and everything. If somebody loses their mind or they're in a desperate situation and they need money, well, now you got attacked by a dog, so now you got time to recuperate and think about what you did.
And also the dog will sniff it out before you would even know. Yes. So by the time the guy pulls the gun, it might be too late.
Yes, the dog will actually, what do they say that? The word, yeah, not point, but they actually detect it. So they'll sit there, and I the question I have for my daughter was, say if you have a gun and I have a gun, will the dog sniff out 2 guns, or will it think it's 1? And that's just the reality of it, because people come up and down the block, people do smash and grabs, you see it in the jewelry store. So I'm a person, and I was accused for 6 years of being a habitual planner. That was something that was bad. But I'm a person that likes to be very proactive. Because if you're proactive, you carry an umbrella. Even if it rains, you just open the umbrella, you don't get wet. If you're reactive, you're walking along, you get rained on, and you're all soaking wet. So you're behind the 8 ball. So I'm very proactive, but that's yeah. So I'm working on that. So we actually have a doggy in mind and everything. It's not cheap, but I'm going to do that, and I think that's a really good alternative. But we're getting there. It's been a long haul, but like I said, I'm gonna do it, and I'm not gonna say it out loud. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but I'm gonna do something like so epic and so New Jersey for my opening. It's gonna be crazy.
Well, I'm hoping to be here on opening day.
Yes, I want you to be here on opening day, but we're not gonna let anybody know what's around the corner or what is going to be going on at 420. So we're going to do something epic to New Jersey, and something epic that maybe younger people don't know, but they should, because there's and I say this to my daughter. I said, you can't be from New Jersey if you don't like Frank Sinatra, Bon Jovi, and Uncle Floyd. you know, and she's like, I hate Bon Jovi. I said, how could you hate Bon Jovi? He was just at shock school and everything. But those are the three things. Well, first time I got weed, I got it from this old hippie dude in New York City. And he gave me a bag of weed, and I smoked it. And I was like, wow, I didn't want to smoke it in front of anybody. And then I smoked it, and I was like, wow, I'm really high. And I stayed high for 10 years. Every day I smoked. But it was like that whole hippie vibe, like, and everybody was like peace and love. And you could go to a concert, like I went to Ozzy Osbourne, and people, and I guess, Queensryche opened for them at Nassau Coliseum. And people would pass you a joint, you just smoke it. You didn't have to worry about dying or anything.
Just pass it down the line.
Yeah, you pass
Next
it down,
person.
everybody take a toke, or people give you like hits of acid, freaking Quaaludes, things like that. I'm not saying be a drug addict. Now that's like, maybe I'm coming off like that, but I'm not. What I'm saying is that it was a time when you could trust people.
And it was a social thing. So it wasn't like you went home and did acid, but when you were at a concert, maybe you felt like doing it and you weren't afraid. Okay, the guy gave it to me, I took
Somebody
it.
gave it to you, you took it. Yeah, and like you walk down the stairs and be, oh, you want a Quaalude? Yeah, sure, I'll take it. And you would take it, and you wouldn't have to worry. Of course, you should have worried, but at the time you didn't worry, like you didn't think somebody's going to poison you or kill you, because they didn't do that back then.
Because they weren't doing it for the money. There was never money involved. It was never like, pay me for this hit of the joint or pay me for this LS. It was like, here, take this.
It was all out there, unless, and I never did, like I said, I told you, I never did cocaine. Cocaine was a whole different vibe, it was a whole different feel. It was all about money and power and greed and sex and misogyny. Weed is the cannabis cartel. Weed is the cannabis cartel. That's what it reminds me. Absolutely reminds me of Miami Vice, friggin' 1979. And you know what? I got my own little vibe here, and I think we need to take that back. Like the whole vibe.
That's what we try and do on my show.
Yeah, and like whatever happened to the peace and the love? Peace Pot and the Grateful Dead. Whatever happened to that?
It's people are out there. We just have to find them.
Well, they're
That's
out
all.
there.
They're hiding.
They had to hide.
Yeah.
They had to hide, and it's funny because when we used to have, when I did my Sugar Magnolia Sundays and I had the dead bands, these dudes used to come and we sit there and we talk in a room and everything, smoke. And I was the one that had the least amount of education. I have 2 undergraduate degrees. They all had like PhDs and master's degrees, and they were like retired professors and like really amazing. And then they start talking to you about the weed that they would grow. And the weed was amazing. But here they are like 74 years old. Now, they're not going to come out and tell you, because you're not going to lose all your money and your livelihood. That's the sad part. Because people that did come out and say that, they lost everything. So there's people that I came up with that lost everything, lost their lives because of weed. I mean, you got arrested, couldn't get a job, getting arrested for weed, and then people would move on to, other drugs. Now, at the time, there was no HIV, there was no hepatitis C, and then there was in 1988. And for a lot of people, it was too late, and they died. So it was like watching that and going through that time because, like I said, the weed and all the stuff that was out there, that HIV and hepatitis C, that changed but the way people interacted. That really changed a lot. So there's a lot of changes. I've lived through a lot of history, and I'm thankful that I lived through that history. I'm thankful that I survived it. I'm glad that I came out unscathed so much. I might be crazy. I'm sure I got friggin' nuts, but I watched a lot of my friends, like I said, lose everything, go to jail, die. So you just evolve, but you don't forget where you came from. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like where you started. Like I started with that bag of weed in New York City from the guy that worked for Mobile Messenger Service. He was a bike delivered things on a bicycle, and he was a little hippie dude, and he had a band, and he did this song. I had the little 45, No Nukes. I remember it. And he gave me this bag of weed. Now, he gave me this bag of weed, because he was hitting on me. And I was like, okay, giggle, giggle, laugh, laugh, laugh. And that's, as a woman, you use all your what do they call them? Feminine wilds. So, I got the bag of weed. I don't think I ever saw the dude again. But I smoked that weed, yeah. And I loved that weed. I loved the way it made me feel. And people are getting beat up, and they're videotaping, and they don't even stop it. And that's like, it's just the violence. It's just, oh my God. Like, I can't even.
The violence has to stop.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not saying go backwards, but I'm saying people need to know, and I say this to my kids, you need to know the history of how things came about.
We need to go forwards, but explain to people how it could be.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be the way it is. We can go forwards, but
yeah, how we got here. So my daughter, she had a bunch of fish in her fish tank. And all the fish died, and she had one fish that was alive. And she goes, oh, I call the fish Beyonce. And I said, why? She said, oh, because Beyonce sings that song, I'm a Survivor. I said, well, then you should call the fish Tina Turner, because Tina Turner really survived. And then I told her the whole story about Tina and Ike Turner and everything, and how she left with 39 cents. I said, and now you don't even know if Ike Turner's alive. Who is he? What is he? I said, but that's the survivor. So people need to know that story, that struggle, that everybody's got a struggle behind them. Everybody's got a story behind them. So you can either take that story and you can go with it and in a positive light, even though it's a negative thing. What happened to me in Trenton was a super negative thing. Like I said, I could have crawled under a rock and sit there crying, saying, I hate you, saying all kinds of shit about him. I'm not saying shit about him, because at this point, he took what he took from me. I'm never getting it back. And I've said this before. I'm never getting it back. It's gone. He took it. I'm never getting it back. So at this point, it doesn't matter to me if he's in a penitentiary or a penthouse. He's irrelevant, because he already stole what he stole.
and why waste your energy?
Yeah. So when people ask me, I'm like, no, I'm here. I got the Weed Stalk now. I got my own shit, and I'm doing my own thing. And they tell, I don't really, well, he does what he does. I don't follow him. I got everybody blocked. I don't care. I don't care. I'm at the point I don't care. I don't care if he's got all his money. I don't care if he's got it. I don't care. All I know is what I had is gone. But now I have this. So now I have something else. So that's like a real hustler. But there's a lot of things that I can do, but I want to do a lot of educational things, because people ask me all the time about like mushrooms and microdosing and, weed and doing things like that. And I want to get people that know, because people know more than me about like terpenes and things like that. So educational stuff. So that's what I really want to be, like a center, for not like a wellness center, but almost like an educational center, where people can come and you can buy your weed, but you can be educated about it too.
Tank of weed.
Yeah, we're so like-minded people, and you come in, if you want to hang out, you can hang out for a little bit. You can't partake in here. I'm not a consumption lounge, but you can buy your stuff. You can ask questions. You can learn. I'll have different kind of people come and have stuff. Even those people that tell you how to get a medical card. I'll tell you how to get a medical card. You just go to a doctor that takes your insurance and you pay the $10 copay. That's what I did. I had a medical card for 6 years. I never renewed it. But you don't really need to pay all that money. And back in the day, people did have to pay. They pay. You're dying, you're paying $500 to some thief. That's a thief. When all you got to do is go and pay. I paid my copay. I didn't pay it. And then I don't need to take a course. Obviously, if you're going to be a medical patient, you already know about weed. You don't need to know. But we can do things about cooking. We can do things about infusing. We can do things, about edibles, about, all kinds of educational things. Because if you don't know, this environment is a accepting environment. Well, you don't know? Well, I do know. Well, let me share my knowledge with you.